Good evening and welcome back to another episode of 5 Things Learned. Manchester City yesterday beat West Ham 2-0 in a gloriously professional, wonderful and emphatic victory at the London Stadium. It was the first game of the season and it was beautiful. I absolutely loved it. And of course, there are more than 5 things that we learned from this game. But I'm going to talk about the 5 things that I personally took from it anyway. I could talk about KDB and his wonderful assists. We all know that. I could talk about Nathan Ake being absolutely immense alongside Ruben Diaz. He was immense. He really was. I could talk about loads and loads of things, but I don't want to talk about those things in particular. I've got 5 things that I pulled out, and you'll deal with them because they are wonderful and, in my opinion, particularly pertinent going into this season. I also want to say thank you before I get into this video to my latest Patreons, Benedict Hacker-Hughes, Yusuf Owolabi, Matthew, and James McAtee apparently. I'm not sure if it's actually James, but either way, that name is down there, and if it is James, thank you so much for supporting the channel, my friend. But either way, for those 4 people, you're absolute superstars, and big love. Of course, all that support really does help more than you realise. And don't forget as well, if you want to help support the channel a little bit, patreon.com/Esteemed Company, or you can become a YouTube member at youtube.com/Esteemed Company /join. And you can have a chat to me during the fan view lives. If you want to have a chat to me about football after a game, all you got to do, member, Patreon, you'll find the links over on Patreon or the YouTube community tab, and we can have a waffle together. But if not, of course, just keep liking these videos and giving subscribe if you're new to the channel. It really does help. But once again, Benedict, Yusuf, Matthew, and James, if that's you, thank you very much for the support. Massively, massively appreciated. So we're not going to start at those places, but we're going to start in the only place you really can start after what we saw yesterday. You know, look, where can we go? Haaland. I'm sorry to say to everyone else, to the rest of the league, but he is it. He is that guy. He does have that X factor. He does have the dog in him. You know, he does have that bite. The Nordic meat shield, the absolute Norse god that is our 4 in making. Erling Haaland, absolutely splendid yesterday. So good, man. So good. Everything that they tried to tell us, it was true. He really is that good. And I know some people have tried to kid themselves about him flopping or whatever, but there was never any signs that he was ever going to do that. This guy is going to score an absolute shit ton of goals at Manchester City Football Club. I really do believe he's a 1 goal a game kind of player. If you play 30 games, you're going to get 30 goals at Haaland. If you play 50 games, he will score 50 goals in Manchester City. That is what I believe. And that isn't based on nothing. It's based on the fact that he's done it at every single level that he's ever played at. Norway, a relative minnow at the international stage. Okay, they're not minnows, but they're not exactly one of the best teams in Europe. He scores a goal a game. RB Salzburg, a goal a game. Even when he was playing in the Champions League for Salzburg, a goal a game. A goal a game for Borussia Dortmund. This is just what he does. Everywhere he goes, he scores chances. And I think you only got to look at his performance yesterday to understand that we could be witnessing the birth of something very, very special here. Look at the movement, man. Those 2 goals yesterday from Haaland, the kind of goals that City simply do not score last season. For one, it was the run and the pace to get onto that pass from Gundogan around the keeper. But it wasn't just that. He was completing it as well. Getting up, brushing himself off, and taking the penalty with such conviction. The way he pelted forward towards that ball and then sort of like smacked it but placed it into the bottom corner in off the post. It was absolute perfection. It was the steely determination of a cold-blooded killer. And the best thing as well, of course, was that second goal. And it wasn't just the lightning-quick arching run behind the defenders, how he set off within milliseconds of Kevin De Bruyne getting the ball. It wasn't just that. It was the way that he shaped himself up to take that finish. The way that he arched his back, looked over, didn't take a touch at all, which 95% of players would do. He just positioned himself round and he arched it around and curled it around the goalkeeper. Like a Thierry Henry level-esque finish from Erling Haaland. And it was pure instinctive brilliance. Do not get me wrong. I love watching people like Sterling or Jesus at Manchester City. But the amount of times they wasted one-on-ones like that by dawdling, taking too many touches, having a lack of conviction. Haaland is it. He does have that X factor and he is going to score an absolute ton of goals. And I can't wait. Also, we need to talk about something that we might see an awful lot this season. Tactical innovations, and in particular, the 2-3-5. Now, Guardiola yesterday outwitted David Moyes. David Moyes talked a lot after the game about how they weren't prepared for Manchester City's tactical setup, and I don't think anyone was, because it was essentially Guardiola trying something new. He essentially played like an inverted Christmas tree formation when we had the ball. Of course, when we were defending, it was more traditional 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1 or something like that. But when we got the ball, we did something really interesting, which you can see on screen alongside me. We played a sort of just Diaz and Ake at the back. They often split, but often were together. But we played essentially 3 midfielders ahead of him with Cancelo and Walker tucking in alongside Rodri. The idea of that was, of course, to cut off any counters and control, essentially, territorially, the centre of the pitch. West Ham was so effective against Manchester City last season at the London Stadium with Bowen and everyone breaking through the middle that it caused us so many problems. Guardiola, he solved it. He shut down that centre, those gaps of the team, and it worked an absolute charm. West Ham got no joy on the break against us, and Cancelo used his ever-growing technical ability to help influence the game from deep, whilst you had Grealish obviously hugging the touchline out wide with Gundogan popping into those spaces, fully well knowing that they had essentially 5 defenders behind them to cover if they so that they could get forward. And we had De Bruyne, of course, overlapping Foden on the right, with Haaland dropping deep every now and then and getting involved, showing more to his game than people let on. It was really interesting to see how it developed, and that's one thing I can't wait to see. Guardiola, with different profiles of players, he's going to try different things, and you got to be excited by that as a football purist, because it was fascinating to see yesterday how it unfolded. Like it was fascinating to watch this next guy. I put the old Rodri ridiculous back, man. Ridiculous Rodri. He was ridiculous yesterday. There was a clip on Manchester City's new documentary in the second episode where all the players were on the bus, and Phil Foden was waxing lyrical about Rodri, saying how, I don't know which game it was, but he said, he was like a blend of Xavi and Iniesta out there. And you know what? People laughed at that, taking it out of context, not realising that he was talking about one game. But when you watch Rodri yesterday, you can see why people make those comparisons. There was one particular moment where I think he put 4 nails on his arse. The footwork was just mesmeric, man. It was ridiculous. The composure to step past 4 nails using exceptional footwork and make him look stupid, man. He sent him for a hot dog. He sent 4 nails back home, and it was only like the 60th minute or whatever. 4 nails literally, he looked mortified. It was wonderfully gifted, and of course, that was just typical of his performance on the day, where everything he touched turned to gold. Technically excellent. The amount of interceptions that he got, his footwork's wonderful. Rodri is going to grow into a special player for Manchester City Football Club. I said during my 5 bold predictions video that I think he's going to become one of the captains of this side, and that he was already showing signs. You can see it on the pitch. He's special, and he knows it. We also saw a really interesting Foden role. Foden was on the right wing yesterday. It's something, once again, that I predicted during my season preview, that I thought we'd see a lot of Phil Foden on the right. Sadly for Mahrez, but I feel like we'd see an awful lot. And it hasn't surprised me at all to see him there on the first day of the season. And I thought it was really encouraging, actually. Now, admittedly, a lot of the gameplay did go down the left with Cancelo and Grealish getting an awful lot of the ball, with Gundogan having a lot of joy as well. But there were times when Foden got the ball, he showed all that elegance and that grace that he's got to the game. When the ball goes to Foden's feet, it simply does stick, and he was involved in some lovely little moves, some lovely little reverse passes to KDB, and the odd little darting run here and there. He can do absolute loads more still, Phil Foden, don't get me wrong, but Manchester City, in my opinion, are quite simply a much better team when Phil Foden's on the pitch. When he's facing the goal again and running at people, we're going to see the best of him. Like, the idea for me of him being on the right and drifting in field and so on and causing trouble, I like it. I absolutely am fine with it. He's got a little bit more spritefulness to his game than Mahrez, as much as I love Riyad. And maybe he hasn't got quite the goal-scoring threat of Riyad on the right. But either way, if Foden's on the pitch, I'm a happy man. It's going to be interesting to see how he unfolds this season, given the fact that he's no longer a false 9. And lastly, I just wanted to give a little bit of praise for our man 𝐿𝐞𝐫𝐿𝐴. Once again, we could have talked about plenty of players on the pitch, but I wanted to talk about 𝐿kay Gundogan, because with Bernardo on the bench, which I don't think there's anything in that for what it's worth. I think largely Bernardo's on the bench. Maybe there is, but I don't know. I don't think it means he's leaving. I think Guardiola probably just wanted to play Gundogan in the light of everything, potentially. It could be even more innocuous than that. It could be that he just wanted to play Gundogan because Gundogan maybe trained well. Like Foden, but apparently. Foden played this game because Guardiola said he trained absolutely brilliantly, which is probably enough to play anyone. But 𝐿𝐞𝐫𝐿𝐴 yesterday, Gundogan was fantastic. The intelligence to his game, the experience that he's got. He glides around the pitch and offers those little kind of triangles and little give and goes that not many in the team have. Like, Gundogan has this, he has the pauser, so to speak, that David Silva-esque trait of ghosting into the right positions, but also knowing when to put his foot on the ball, when to keep the ball moving and up the tempo and slow the game down and play those simple little passes. 𝐿kay Gundogan is a special footballer. And yesterday, it was yesterday, I forgot what day it was, he showed all the quality that we know that he's got. Gundogan could play a massive part in this season, and I think he revelled in that kind of left attacking midfield role yesterday. It was really fascinating to watch him. But guys, thank you once again for watching this video. Don't forget to let me know down in the comments your 5 things that you personally learned from this game. Give this video a big old like and let me know how excited you are about Haaland. And once again, thank you to Benedict, Yusuf, Matthew, and that's 𝐿𝐴𝐸𝐴𝐻. Thank you very much, my friend. You're a good lad. Like, comment, subscribe, all the usual stuff, and I'll be back tomorrow with a very special guest. I think me and 𝐿𝐴𝐸𝐴𝐻 are going to have a big old chat tomorrow on the City Social, so I'll see you there. And I bet you're all awesome.